Spring has sprung here at the West Coast National Park in the Posberg section. We see an array of colours. I mean, fields and fields of marigolds as well as white rainflowers, and also, according to park management, what is termed as syrinx. Now, of course, yellow, white and orange is the colour taking place or blooming here along the Cape West Coast. And of course, I'm joined now by the park manager of the West Coast National Park, Charlene Adams. Charlene, of course, a fantastic display of wildflowers again this year. Tell us a bit about what we are seeing, and also whether the heavy rainfall and cold weather over the Cape winter has had an impact on the species we see here today.
Yes, as you've noticed now that we've had a very heavy rainy season this year. So in August and September, so our flower season usually starts the 1st of August and then it stretches to the 30th of September. And then we usually expect the flowers around mid-August up to mid-September. But this year things are a bit different than previous years. So the flower season is slow. And I think all of us have realized that because of the heavy rains during August and end of July, it has really impacted on our flower season.
So what are we seeing at the moment, Charlene? I see bursts of yellow, of orange, of white. Can you just, specify which species we are seeing and whether this is also due to the weather conditions we've had?
Yeah, so the flowers that we're currently seeing, the white ones are the reënblommetjies. The yellow ones are the gousblomme, and then these longer yellow ones, it's the syrinx. We grow up saying syrinx. So those are the dominant flowers this year. We do expect that later in the flower season, the other flowers will also show their faces. But for now, these are the flowers that you will see throughout the park and throughout Posberg.
So you said last year you had a bumper season. I mean, something over 70,000 visitors, if I'm not mistaken. You said, what have you seen this year at the start of the flower season, and what are your expectations going forward?
Yeah, so as I've said, the flower season has been slow for us, and that's due to the weather. So this past weekend, Saturday, Sunday, we really saw an increase of visitors to the park, and that's mainly due to the sunny days that we've had. So going forward, we expect our flower season the flowers to be out a bit longer, and because the season has started later, we do expect that the season will last a bit longer. We are still hopeful.
Now, also quite a treat coming up for South African citizens. National Parks Week taking place next week. What does this mean? Does it mean that people can even come here to West Coast National Park and enjoy the splendor of the natural beauty?
That's correct. So next week we're celebrating National Parks Week. That's an annual occurrence, and it's celebrated throughout South African national parks. So what usually happens is all South African citizens is granted free access to our national parks. When you get to the gates, you must then produce your South African ID, and then you can visit the park free of charge. And that's from the 9th to the 13th of September.
Charlene Adams, thank you so much for speaking to me. Of course, there's Charlene Adams, the park manager of the West Coast National Park, speaking to us in a field filled with colour, an explosion of colour taking place here, of course, saying that this year, due to the heavy winter rainfall and cold conditions, it's been a late start to the blooms, but of course saying that they do expect some of the other species, such as the
bokbaaivytjies, that's correct, and
the spinnekoppblomme to bloom a little later on in the season. And of course, just a reminder there that for all South African citizens, from next Monday, the 9th, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
The 9th of September through to the 13th, it's National Parks Week, which means that every South African citizen with their ID documents or cards can go to any national park in South Africa and, of course, enjoy the splendor of the natural beauty free of charge. That's, of course, National Parks Week taking place all of next week.